so sorry that the AC's not working right now. That's all I can think of. I'm like talking about set conditions. I'm like, the AC's not working. I'm doing the thing. I've become the monster. Okay, so getting into the 3 aspects of bodily autonomy, starting with body ownership. I want to examine body ownership through the lens of access versus boundaries. What do I mean by that? I'm going to pick up from where my courageous friend's story left off when he talked about being recognized and stopped daily, and mention there is a striking and bizarre experience for young professionals in that so many people in their day-to-day encounters, from adult crew members to fans on the street, have unquestioned, unchecked, intimate access to the child's physical body, as well as their personal life and present emotional state. I hope you find this as weird as I do. At a cultural level, it's normalized to approach celebrities, to gossip about their relationships and weight, see posts about their personal lives, treat them with a different set of social rules. We really don't think twice about forming strong opinions of public figures, using words like, I'm obsessed with them, or they should just die, feeling like it's completely fine to comment on their life decisions as if we have any right or authority or awareness of their human experience. We're invested in their journey and art, and we feel offended or betrayed when they behave in ways contrary to the reasons we followed them, whether that's a new haircut or some dicey political stance. Some of this speaks to the halo effect of fame on the public, the way that we perceive one positive trait or impression of a public figure as their whole personality and character. If someone who has seen a show that I'm in perceives me as talented or successful or kind or beautiful, they may also leap to assume I'm cool, nice, funny, smart, and upon encountering me in real life, it could drum up really unexpected and even strange responses. Even if you swear you're not the type to be starstruck, people become suddenly giddy. They want to be noticed and get the public figure's attention. They lose their cool and speak in gibberish. They overshare personal information as a bid for mutual connection. As an adult, I know much of this is not actually the authentic me causing them to react this way because they don't know me. It's the halo effect and overall impact of the project I was in, the performance I gave, and fame's spell on society. But as a child, I had no concept of this. Even stranger, I did not have any non-famous reference point to compare my experience against. When I was 10, someone walked in on me using the restroom and demanded I take a photo while I was peeing. And I froze in embarrassment and fear. I said something like, please let me finish first and we can do this outside. I don't think they felt great about their own reaction and behavior, but something came over them. And not wanting to be troublesome or leave a bad impression, I walked out with a smile and took the photo. By this age, I'd already grown hypervigilant enough that I could spot a person blocks away who was tracking my location. Sometimes it's an innocent fan. Later, it was a stalker who sent me thousands of messages and showed up to my work where I had to be less than a foot away from him in a doorway in order to get past him and call the cops. I used to be approached by grown men who had stacks of photos of my face in their car trunks, and they'd demand that I sign all of the photos so they could sell them on eBay. And you'd sign one photo, and then they'd quickly slide it under the stack and say, just one more, just one more. People who were in jail would regularly send written letters to my agent asking for signed autographs that they could sell for bail money. They were literally using my adolescent body and identity as a tool to get them out of jail. Adult journalists from all kinds of outlets asked super invasive questions like, what was it like to get my period? What brand was my first bra? What does the inside of my bedroom look like? Because My job was to tell all so young readers at home could relate to their idols. My body and identity became an example for young people before I even knew what a role model was or could choose whether or not I wanted to be one. I remember when I first got a cell phone and email address, I didn't give them to anyone. Yet, somehow, a few months later, my personal information spread and I started receiving messages from unknown numbers, sometimes fans from Wisconsin, sometimes prank calls from Tampa, sometimes TMZ texted my mother's cell phone, sometimes kidnapping plots were coming into the email. That's a real story, by the way. Someone pretended to be Make-A-Wish Foundation, requesting that I meet a child with a terminal illness as their last wish. And we literally had flights booked. I also found that people I'd met only once would regularly reach out, asking to hang, asking for special favors, commenting on things happening in my career as if we were close. And as a kid, even with my parents' support in, protecting my safety and privacy and in taking active measures to, block inappropriate access to me, I didn't have a clear understanding of this influx of attention and how to filter through the constant requests. I tried to be generous to as many people as possible. I was even keeping up with fans online in chat rooms. Each person ensured that their individual request was small and easy to fulfill, making it seem like, it really was the least I could do, though they had no idea I was receiving hundreds of these small requests every week. So I tried to respond, I tried to follow through. Little did I understand, there would never be enough supply for this demand. And people would keep asking and asking and asking if I let them. At some point, I realized there literally weren't enough hours in the day, and I had to stop answering, though I felt really guilty and afraid of how people would characterize me. There are probably hundreds of people who likely are upset with me now or think less of me because they had expectations of connection that I could not fulfill. And I have to accept that. As an adult, I try to create much clearer boundaries around my safety and also public access, but it's still distorted. Even though I deliberately left the industry and have been trying to live a more normal life, I still get hundreds of Venmo requests from people who find my personal account and ask me to pay their car payment, school tuition. Jennifer requests $200 for car and rent payment. Jocelyn wants $2,000 for a car down payment. Christina, Lexi, Gina, Weasel, Chelsea, Taylor, I know my chances are low. They're a longtime fan. You're my hero and I'm broke. Wants college tuition covered, just has a smiley face, can't find a job and they're losing their apartment. This is my privacy. Is that not weird to you? Please don't get any ideas. Please don't get any ideas. Please. If I don't pay, some will send a follow-up message about how I clearly don't care about people and they'll no longer be supporting me. All of this has been a part of my life since childhood. It's my norm. In fact, it's actually bizarre and foreign and new for me to be experiencing a little more privacy and anonymity these days. I have to remind myself that nothing's wrong. Now, returning back to the different forms of distorted access to child performers' bodies. This obviously happens beyond the public domain as well. So zooming in a bit, access to kid performers' bodies happens in the entertainment workplaces and industry settings as well. Some scenarios go beyond sheer access and are more like coercion and control of their body, but let's start with the general landscape and implicit messages that we receive. So, the process of getting ready on set, or as we say, going through the works, includes putting on wardrobe, getting your hair and makeup done, and then getting mic'd up. All of these, hopefully, are relatively easygoing steps that involve appropriate interactions with the crew. Yet, there are subtle ways these steps compound to create a distorted experience of adults accessing your body as a child. It's common during wardrobe fittings to have a child undressing and changing in front of adults who might also touch their body, including near their genitals, even if it's just to grab measurements. And then when you've gone through hair and makeup, the glam team will spend the rest of the day touching you up, fixing loose hairs, dabbing sweat, relining your lips. And then when you get mic'd up on set, a stranger slips their cold, clammy hand under your shirt or into your pants to place the mic and mic pack against your bare skin. Do you hope that they ask permission first? Yes. But whether or not they do, it doesn't remove the weirdness of countless adults touching my bare adolescent skin under my clothes and then wearing headphones where they can hear every breath, every sneeze, every word I say for the rest of that period, even when the cameras aren't rolling. To be clear, I'm not claiming that any of these steps are automatically dangerous or wrong, though they can be and they have been. I'm just presenting it through the lens of a young person who is receiving their earliest conditioning about their own bodily autonomy. Now, once you're filming, your body, mind, body, emotions, talents really are a part of an ensemble of people bringing, this vision to life in real time. This is the magic. But removing the romantic filter and examining what's happening more from the standpoint of what's going on biologically and physiologically, productions have strict timelines and clear shot lists for every day, and they must do whatever it takes to get the shot. And that puts your mind and body through quite a ride every day. As a child, if I was filming the scene of my dog dying and I'm supposed to be sad, but I can't seem to muster the tears in that moment, a director may use whatever tactics necessary to encourage me / manipulate me into the desired emotional state, right? You gotta get the shot. Productions are always navigating a complex mix of factors, and many rules are bent and broken in the name of getting the shot. For example, if you were us on Camp Rock 2, you'd know that the final jam performance was actually a night shoot, and we were shivering in freezing Canada at midnight, lips turning blue, rain pouring down, wearing spaghetti straps and summer clothes, having to dance and sing gleefully on this slippery stage where people actually fell and got injured. To paint the picture more vividly, the crew members were wearing parkas, had heaters and heat packs in their clothes, and were still cold. But we had to get the shot, and this was the night that it was planned. So you do it. And what's twisted? We performers grow to treasure these moments of suffering. It's like how we measure our dedication. These are the stories that we share on Jimmy Kimmel to elicit oohs and ahs. I now look at this from afar and go, wow, so much of this was not necessary. And it's definitely not worth glorifying. It's worthy of examining better work conditions that consider human well-being. And just so you know, I'm all for working really hard, making sacrifices, persisting even when things are tough. But some of this can literally be fixed with better pre-production coordination. Don't produce a project if you can't care for the basic needs of your crew and cast. Do you know how many dance gigs don't even provide water or food to dancers who are moving and sweating for hours? It's wild to me. One arena where access to child performers' bodies crosses over into actual control, as in taking the child's ownership of their own body away from them, is with legal contracts. We love legal. When you're working for a network or company, you are agreeing to be a commercial tool for their product or service. And you sign stacks of paperwork stating that in varying degrees, the company can own your name, likeness, and appearance. And, they can use whatever content is captured however they please in perpetuity. And sometimes they can actually dictate what you do with your body, maybe even for the next several years. Hair color, weight range, daily schedule. Sure, you can choose not to sign the contract after reading this, but you'll never work on a job then. Sure, you can ask your lawyer, if you have one, to redline some clauses and request changes. But if you're a new actor and production sees you as already making it difficult just to get on set and go, you'll just get replaced. Companies' control of the child's body doesn't end on set. In order to look out for their project, they may assert the right to control what activities you're allowed to engage in during your off time. After all, they're taking a risk on you remaining in the right shape for the right duration of production. You can't get injured or show up with new bruises overnight. For a kid, that basically means don't play outside. Don't worry, I was still riding my bikes and climbing trees, but I'd be lying if I told you I didn't let the industry and contracts live in the back of my mind whenever considering activities or considering haircuts or piercings and tattoos. That's why I have like 30 piercings in my ear. Another aspect here is that on projects, your character may have some arc or transformation that isn't evident upon reading the script of the first episode. So writers and executives might decide to make your character do anything on the next episode, and it's assumed that you're going to agree to whatever's scripted. My first kiss and several of the times I experienced kissing all happened on camera. I remember on Sweet Life on Disney, I'd already booked the role of Max and I'd filmed an episode. And the character was a tomboy, and I vaguely remember, being a friend to Zach and Cody at school. Tapeworm was the other friend. A few weeks later, they wrote an episode where Max had to kiss both twins. And I can't remember if both kisses ended up in the final edit or if Disney was like, that's a little too much kissing for one episode. Did I know that when I auditioned for Max? No. Was I ready for that? No. I felt young and uncomfortable, but I was already under contract and I didn't want to be difficult, especially because I'm only a recurring role, like closer to guest star than a lead with less clout. I felt like, this is a part of my job. I chose to act and audition for this project. It's only a character. So in that way, I justified like, okay, I can have my kiss here and then I'll have my own separate first kiss at some point. So building off of this lack of control over your body, there's also the wonderful world of merchandising. Because companies own your name, likeness, and appearance, they can plaster images of your face onto merchandise without you seeing the design in advance or even knowing it exists or making any money off of it. For example, I had zero clue that I became some limited edition Barbie doll figure until I saw a replica of my Camp Rock wardrobe on a doll in a store and thought, oh my gosh, they copied Caitlin's outfit for this doll company. Like, wait, that's me? Never have I seen a dime from that because I, Alyson, didn't own my body as the IP named Caitlin Geller, though I, Alyson, literally am the body that brought Caitlin to life, and the Barbie is modeled after my features. It's weird. To legally not own your body, for outside entities to control your body in this way. And I was in my teens. I didn't get it like that. If anything, I was probably told to see it as super cool that my face was everywhere. Look, the movie posters wrapping around Times Square. Listen, your voice is in a theme park attraction. Like, you're making it. These kinds of access and control, celebrity culture, on-set dynamics, legal contracts, conspire with an onslaught of body-related messages you're already receiving from the industry to create quite a cocktail for body issues. And I'm not just saying the messages that we all receive from media as consumers. Child performers deal with those too, but they also receive additional messages from the inside of the industry. For example, as a child, my olive skin often got very tan in the summer. So much so that I was occasionally submitted for roles where I didn't know I was the wrong race until the casting director said, please slate your name and whether English is your first or second language. Now, looking back, I'm wondering why I didn't even second guess auditioning to play Jennifer Lopez's daughter, Salma Hayek's daughter. What? How does that work? Anyways, I learned from my agents in the first year of auditioning that tanness as a white person was an issue for productions. I was advised by my agents to avoid getting too dark because projects might film in the summer but come out at Christmas, and it would look unnatural for me to be tan. I remember finding this fascinating and oddly cool that I had this special parameter. But guess what I wore when I went to the beach with my basketball team between our tournament games? Long sleeves and long pants. Guess what I did while they ran into the water in their bathing suits? I sat under an umbrella, worried about staying pale. Talk about isolating, but it oddly reinforced this, like, you're set apart and special narrative. So I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to share more about body modification, including things that I've done to myself that I've never said before, and how we present ourselves. I'm also going to get into some territory that's referring to abuse, so heads up. But please join me for the next episode, and let's keep digging in. See you there. Why do child actors become broken adults? Well, during the Zoom conversation with former child actors, we knew that we all had this unusual set of experiences in childhood. But now what? How has that affected the adults we've become? I want to flash forward and talk to you a little bit about my present experiences. Okay. Excellent.